What if everything you believe about finding yourself is a comforting lie? Imagine the person you present to the world, the polite smiles, the suppressed opinions, the abandoned dreams is merely a ghost, a fragile construct built to appease others. Beneath that familiar shell lies a tempest of raw, ungoverned potential, a self you were conditioned to fear and bury. This is not about self-improvement. This is about self-confrontation. This is the terrifying and exhilarating precipice where the philosophy of Friedrich Nietzsche begins. He forces a devastating question upon you. Have you ever truly chosen your life? Or have you merely been performing a script written by parents, preachers, and politicians? We are born into a cage of borrowed values, mistaking the hum of our chains for the sound of our own heartbeat. We chase happiness, approval, and moral comfort, never realizing these are the very bars that imprison us. This is the great existential tension of modern life. A deep, knowing feeling that you are living a life that is not your own, yet being utterly terrified of what might happen if you stopped. What monstrous beauty, what glorious chaos have you been forced to lock away in order to belong? The pressure builds, the inauthenticity chokes, and the ghost of who you could have been starts to haunt your quietest moments. This is the first necessary shattering. To become who you are, you must first destroy who you are not. But this raises a darker, more urgent question. What is this invisible force that first convinced you to build the cage? What hidden mechanism of the human soul so willingly consents to its own imprisonment? The answer lies not in a simple flaw, but in a brilliant and terrifying psychological survival strategy, one that Nietzsche called the slave revolt in morality. If these ideas are unraveling the world you thought you knew, subscribe to continue this dangerous journey with us. The cage was not built in a day. Its foundations are ancient, laid by a psychological rebellion against the very essence of power and life itself. Nietzsche called this the slave revolt in morality. Imagine early human tribes. The strong, the noble, the masters defined good as what they were: powerful, beautiful, happy. The weak, unable to compete, performed a brilliant, insidious act of philosophical sabotage. They declared their traits, pity, humility, obedience, to be good, and relabeled the strength of the masters as evil. This was not a discovery of truth, but a creation of a weapon. Values were born not from virtue, but from resentment. This inverted value system was then codified into religion, most profoundly into Christianity. Thinkers like Carl Jung would later recognize this as a mass projection of our disowned shadows. Our own vitality and will to power were cast out as sin, as demonic. We were taught that our base nature is corrupt, that our deepest instincts are shameful. To be good is to be meek, to turn the other cheek, to seek reward not in this life, but in a promised hereafter. This is the hidden problem. You have inherited a morality of self-denial. You have been taught to see your own vibrant, chaotic, creative life force as the enemy. Your soul has been fighting a civil war against itself, believing one half must annihilate the other for you to be worthy of love, for you to be safe. This internal division is the root of your existential fatigue, but the consequences of living this lie are even more corrosive. This spiritual sickness doesn't just haunt your mind, it physically manifests, creating a world of quiet desperation and silent prisons. The true cost of this self-betrayal is paid not in grand philosophical terms, but in the slow, quiet decay of your everyday reality, a decay that feels normal only because it is so universal. Let us know in the comments what part of your own cage this exposes for you. Your reflections are the first act of rebellion. The consequence of this internal civil war is a life lived in quiet delusion. You walk through your days feeling a vague, persistent hollowness, a sense of being a guest in your own skin. This is what Jean-Paul Sartre would later call bad faith, the act of lying to yourself to escape the terrifying weight of your own freedom. You choose the comfort of the pre-written script over the dizzying responsibility of authoring your own. Neurologically, your brain, wired for efficiency and social belonging, reinforces this cage. Cognitive biases like the bandwagon effect and a deep-seated fear of social exclusion keep you compliant, mistaking the consensus of the crowd for your own voice. This is the great unseen tragedy. Your potential is not murdered in a single act, but gently euthanized through 1,000 small concessions. You silence a controversial thought to keep the peace. You abandon a foolish dream for a sensible career. You swallow your anger, soften your edges, and dim your light, all in the name of being likable, of being good. The result is a society of pleasant ghosts, haunted by the phantom limbs of passions they were told to amputate. The vibrant, messy, and authentic human being is systematically replaced by a well-mannered, predictable, and empty echo. You feel a profound homesickness for a self you have never fully met. But what if this hollowness is not a sign of failure, but a clue? What if this gnawing ache is the buried vitality of your true self, starving for expression? It is a dangerous signal, a call to rebellion. To answer it requires not a gentle adjustment, but a radical, violent break from the very systems of thought that have held you captive. It demands a shattering of the tablets of inherited values. The path to becoming is a solitary one, but the conversation continues. Like this video if it resonated, and subscribe for the next step. This rebellion begins not with an external battle, but with an internal execution. Nietzsche demands you perform a terrifying act of intellectual violence, the murder of your God. This is not a call for atheism in the simplistic sense, but for the assassination of any external authority to which you outsource your values and your meaning, be it a deity, a political ideology, the approval of your parents, or the algorithm of social media. You must tear down the celestial court where you have been a supplicant and become the sole sovereign of your own moral universe. This is the essence of the Bermensch, not a Superman, but the Overman, the one who has overcome his own conditioned humanity. This is the counterintuitive shift. True freedom is not found in following a new, better set of rules, but in the chaotic, creative abyss of having no rules at all. It is the embrace of what Nietzsche called amor fati, the love of your own fate. Every joy, every failure, every moment of suffering, you must will it all, not as a punishment to be endured, but as the raw, unformed material of your self-creation. Historical figures, from the artist who defies convention to the entrepreneur who embraces catastrophic failure, embody this spirit. They reclaim control by staring into the abyss of uncertainty and choosing to see not a void, but a canvas. This is where you stop being a reactive creature, shaped by the thou shouts of the herd, and become a self-legislating artist. You will feel a profound and terrifying loneliness, for you are dismantling the very bridge that connected you to the crowd. But in that silence, for the first time, you will hear the faint, powerful pulse of your own will to power. And this leads to the ultimate, most dangerous truth of all, the final realization of what you have been building amidst the rubble of your old self. This is just the first shattering of the old tablets. Subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter where we forge the new ones. The ultimate truth is this: you were never meant to find yourself. You are not a precious artifact buried under the dirt of conditioning, waiting to be unearthed. This is the final, most liberating deception you must shatter. Nietzsche's profound realization is that you are a verb, not a noun, a perpetual becoming. Becoming who you are is the active, violent, and joyous process of creating yourself. There is no true self waiting in the wings. There is only the raw material of your instincts, your experiences, your chaos, and the relentless, artistic will to sculpt it into a work of art. This is the paradigm shift that redefines reality. Your life is not a puzzle to be solved, but a myth to be authored. The struggles you resented, the shadows you feared, these were not obstacles on your path. They were the path. They were the hammer and chisel against the marble of your soul. To embrace this is to achieve a sovereignty so complete it is dizzying. There is no judge, no final verdict, no destination. There is only the eternal act of creation, the will to power expressing itself as your unique, unrepeatable life. So stand before the mirror of your existence. The ghost of the person you pretended to be is gone. The crowd's applause has faded into a silent, distant hum. All that remains is you, the artist and the masterpiece, the lawgiver and the kingdom. The question is no longer who am I? The only question that remains, echoing into the vast and terrifying freedom you have won, is this: what will you create? The conversation on how to create yourself is just beginning. Share your thoughts below and subscribe to ensure you don't miss what comes next. If you're interested in exploring more ideas like this, be sure to check out my other videos on philosophy. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Nietzsche's ideas in the comments below. Do you think his philosophy is relevant to modern life? Share your thoughts and let's keep the conversation going.